Hello ladies and gentlemen, the car that you see with us here today is the BMW 3 Series. Now this is not just another variant in the 3 Series lineup, but it is the new 3 Series Gran Limousine. Now what does this car offer? And there are a certain set of numbers that define its character. So what do these numbers do, and who really does this car matter for, and who is it aimed at? Well, that's exactly what we'll find out over the next few minutes. Now when it comes to design, there is not much of a difference from the standard 3 Series when you compare it with this 3 Series Gran Limousine. And if you look at the front, the rear, well, it's pretty much the same. That said, there is one big design, and that is pretty much the reason why you will buy the 3 Series Gran Limousine, and that's its length. Now, if you look at the side, it's easy to make out that the Gran Limousine is longer than the standard 3 Series. It just shows because it's 120 millimeters longer than the standard model. The wheelbase has been extended by 110 millimeters, and that means that you've got a longer rear door panel. The rear door panel is also longer by 110 millimeters. So this added length is what the 3 Series Gran Limousine is all about, and that's pretty much the only biggest visual difference between this and the standard 3 Series. But what does this added length mean? Let's head inside the cabin and find out. Now, if you are considering the 3 Series Gran Limousine, there are good chances that you will be spending most of your time in this seat, because this is the reason why you would have bought the Gran Limousine in the first place. Now, like I told you earlier, this car is longer. So yes, it has an extended wheelbase, 110 millimeters to be precise, over the standard 3 Series, and as a result of that extension in the rear seat, you get an extra 43 millimeters of legroom. Now this makes a big difference when it comes to overall comfort, because in terms of legroom, as you will see, I've got a lot of knee room to spare. I can easily slide my feet under the driver's seat, and well, at 5 feet 8 inches, there is no way I can utilize all of the space available. So yes, even if you're someone who's 6 feet or taller, being chauffeur driven in this car is going to be quite a treat. Now, one of the other good things about this car is the fact that the rear seats are different from your standard 3 Series. So you've got better seats here, and they've got better cushioning, and overall, if you look at the comfort level, these seats are slightly better than what you get in the standard 3 Series. And if I have to look at the competition, well, this is where this car has an advantage. There is no direct rival for this car as of now in this segment, and this can be a big factor in the success of this car. Like you've seen earlier, the E-Class in its long wheelbase version was a runaway success, and this is the kind of success story that we can see being repeated with the 3 Series Gran Limousine, because in this segment particularly, rear legroom is something that is not very good or not much of a luxury. The cars in this segment do not offer particularly good rear legroom or comfort, but this car can change that, because not everyone is willing to upgrade and move to a higher car at the same time. Not everyone can afford to do that, but this is the solution that fits to the requirement of a lot of Indian buyers, wherein you do not have to pay as much as upgrading, but you get great comfort. You can get a car that is great in terms of family comfort, and of course, if you're looking at being chauffeur driven, this is pretty much the best you can get in this segment right now. Now that's about the static things, but when you're on the move, again, you're going to feel very comfortable in the seat in this car, because now the 3 Series, to start with, if you look at the present generation, you would have seen in our earlier reviews as well, this has softened up a bit when you compare it to its predecessor, the last generation 3 Series. So that is a good thing in terms of comfort, and like when you're going over the speed breaker that we just did. So that just makes the ride quality good. And in this car, I mean, there's no great deal of change in terms of the suspension or the architecture when you compare it to the standard edition 3 series. But yes, it's got a slightly longer wheelbase, and it just feels a little bit more comfortable when you're in this seat. The ride quality is decent, I would say. Improves as the speed builds up. At low speeds it can be a bit crashy at times, but that's only on really bad surfaces. Overall, a very good comfortable cabin which I cannot find any major fault with. As for the features, well, like I've been saying, this is the same in terms of design and features and powertrain with like it's with the standard 3 series. So no big change here, and well, it is a well equipped car at that. And you can see the list of features that the Grand Limousine comes with on your screens, and you can make out how feature loaded this car is. And now on to the driving part. Well, if you do find yourself in this seat, first of all, because, well, most of the owners buying this car would be in the rear seat in case, I mean, on those days when your driver is on leave and you do decide to take up the wheel, well, it's not going to be radically different from the standard 3 series, and that's a good thing because the 3 series is the best car in this segment in terms of driving to start with. And well, this one drives differently. Let's talk about the engine first. Now, this is the diesel version that we are driving right now. So you have the same turbocharged diesel engine and you get the same 190 horsepower output. So, and this car doesn't really weigh like a ton more or a half a ton more than the standard 3 series. So in terms of acceleration, in terms of straight line performance, there's not a world of a difference. It's still a fairly quick car. It's quick off the line. There's very little turbo lag, and it's smooth and refined to drive. As far as handling goes, well, again, not much of a change except the fact that this is longer in terms of a wheelbase. So yes, in terms of straight line stability, it's always been a stable car. It is even now. Around the corners though, if you are driving it hard, as I did yesterday when I was driving this car, there is a slightly higher resistance. I mean, the car doesn't feel that comfortable going in to the corners hot, but that's pretty much expected. I mean, that's not something you would do or you would want from your car when you're buying the Grand Limousine. What this car is aimed at, it perfectly achieves that, and that's what really matters. So yes, from a driving perspective too, it is a good car, and that makes it a very good versatile car. It's a great car in terms of being a chauffeur driven car. I think it's the best in the segment right now. And of course, if you're looking at it from a family perspective as well, again, 3 Series Grand Limousine gets top marks in our books. Now, coming to who exactly is the 3 Series Grand Limousine aimed at? I mean, who would buy it? Well, if you look at the long wheelbase cars, well, exactly these are the kind of cars that came from the Chinese market. But as we saw with the Mercedes-Benz E-Class in its long wheelbase format, that these kind of cars have immense potential in the market. I mean, that car was a runaway success, and this is where this car's strength lies as well. Because when this car will be launched, which is a few days from now, well, this will have no direct rival, and that means the 3 Series Grand Limousine will be opening up a micro segment within its segment, and with no rivals, all BMW needs to do is price this car competitively. And as for this car itself, well, it is a 3 Series, so it is pretty much good at everything. But the one thing that it wasn't great at, and that was rear leg room, the rear space, the rear seat comfort, well, now it is the best in its segment. So, like I said, as long as BMW can price it competitively, I will not be surprised to see this topping the sales chart soon after its launch. If you like this video, please hit that subscribe button and press the bell icon to stay updated with all forthcoming Express Drives videos.